What's up? Welcome back to This Won't Last Call. Finally got the name down. Alright. So tonight, thank you for joining me. We're going to do ourselves a little old-fashioned. Why? Because I like old-fashions. Who doesn't like an old-fashioned? Very simple drink. It's really just booze, sugar, a little bit of water, and some bitters. Easy to make, easy to enjoy. But I am going to do two different versions. I'm going to do the simple version, and I'm going to do the little more complex version. So, we'll start off with the simple version. Quite literally, the simple version. Because you use simple syrup. Simple syrup, as we discussed before, is just equal parts water and sugar, boiled, then cooled down, put into a bottle. It's easier to mix than regular sugar, so it's very useful in a lot of drinks. In this one, we're just going to build this guy in the glass because it's simpler that way. So I'll do chilled glass, throw a couple ice cubes in it. Really just one's fine. Unless you really like it cold. But you can do maybe a half an ounce is simple. Depending on how big your drink is, how sweet you like yours. We'll go with half an ounce. Spill a bit. It's tasty stuff. Then, after you do that, you're going to take your bitters, whatever your bitters of choice are. I happen to like paychauds. Sometimes I do a little bit of paychauds and an orange bitters. I'm just going to go with just paychauds. About 2 dashes. And whatever your bourbon of choice is, do an ounce to ounce and a half. I'm going to stick with just an ounce for this one. Give it a little stir. Just enough to get cold. You dilute the ice a little bit. Now I usually do it this method with just a thing of ice, just so that you can stir it and actually get it to chill down the drink. And add the water at the same time, but you can add water separately if you prefer. About, half an ounce. Anyways, that's it. That's the simple recipe. The simple old-fashioned recipe. Damn tasty. Usually, you get the paychauds coming through very well, which mixes well with any bourbon in my opinion. Could go Angostura if you like. I've tried it with chocolate bitters. It's pretty good. I imagine there's other bitters that work very well with it as well. But that's the simple version. Go with a little more complex version. Start out with your glass. A sugar cube, or a teaspoon of sugar, something along those lines. However much sugar you want, really. Then you're going to use your bitters. Again, for this recipe, I like to mix them a little bit. I'll do boom, 2 dashes of paychauds, and 1 dash of orange. And the secret, throw in a cherry. Now there is another recipe. I do a little cherry juice in there too. I'm gonna sneak a little bit of juice. Maraschino juice is so good. And this is the proper bourbon cherries that, again, P. Breezy got me for my birthday. So, shout out to P. Breezy. Then the next thing you're going to do, once you get all those ingredients in there, you're going to muddle it. You have to go crazy with it, just, get enough to break up the sugars, crush the cherry a little bit, get the flavors blending. And if you want to do a slightly larger drink, or you want to do more sweet drink, you could add another sugar cube or another teaspoon of sugar. Any way you like it. The Whiskey Tribe guys always say, if the drink you like is in the glass, the way you like it, at the end of the day, you're drinking right. So, as long as you're happy. gonna throw an ice cube in there. We'll do 1.5 ounces this time because sometimes all those other things make it a little bit sweeter. So get some of the bourbon flavor in there. Now in this scenario, you may want to do a little bit of cold water in there, only because it's like a dash. Only because you don't really mix this one up quite like you do the other one. You can give it a stir just to get the ice in there. But the idea is that the granulated sugar doesn't dissolve as quickly as the simple syrup. So the drink itself evolves over time. Like right now, this just tastes like a slightly sweeter whiskey with a little bit of bitter flavor to it. But once you get to the end of it, the sugar gets all together and it makes like almost like syrupy kind of base to it, and it's just so good. Almost smells perfumey a lot of times too. And of course, whatever bourbon you use is going to affect the way that the drink comes out. Today I am using Black Ridge Special Reserve Port Barrel Finished Bourbon. So this is kind of like a knockoff of Angel's Envy. I really like Angel's Envy. And I would say this is not quite as good as Angel's Envy, but it was like $10 cheaper. Totally worth it in my opinion. So if you have the desire to try one, Black Ridge Special Reserve Port Barrel Finished, 90 proof. Never really heard of or tried Black Ridge Estates. Bottled by Clear Springs Distilling Company, Louisville, Kentucky. I don't know much about bourbon, but a lot of the guys that I watch, they talk about that there is a lot of bourbon these days that is being produced by like some of the large distillers and then just being labeled otherwise. I don't know if that's one of them, but I do know that I have not really ever heard about them, so it could be. Anyways, so that's pretty much it for the old-fashioned episode. Give it a try yourself. It's easy drink to make, wonderful sipping whiskey. Give yourself a couple different variations of it. Try it with different whiskeys. It's a great drink. Highly recommend. Thank you again for stopping by and seeing this episode. Please check us out on the socials. This Won't Last Podcast. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think we got Tumblr. Anybody use that anymore? I don't know. Also on the for the podcast episodes, you can get them on iTunes. You can get them on Spotify. You can get it on Podbean. You can get it on a bunch of different places. So check it out. Maybe I'll do a little link tree in the description. Anyways, thanks for coming by again. See you next time. Bye. Macaroni in the pot.